Three Kingdoms, Part 1. The Rise of Heroes and the Blueprint for an Empire. Introduction. The hot pot setting of the Great Han. Imagine the Han Dynasty in its final years as a family company that went public a long time ago. The CEO, i.e. the Emperor, was just a little kid who preferred playing with dolls and chasing chickens in the palace. The real power lay in the hands of a group of senior managers called eunuchs, or more colloquially, the 10 attendants. This group had no skills other than embezzling the company's budget, backstabbing each other, and whispering sweet nothings into the big boss's ear. The company was doing poorly, and the people, i.e. the low-level employees, were starving. When pushed to the brink, a man named Zhang Jiao, after a trip up a mountain where he probably stumbled upon an enlightening rock, founded a religious startup called the Way of Supreme Peace. The startup's slogan was very catchy. The blue sky is dead. The yellow sky shall rise. They recruited personnel by distributing healing charms. And soon, they had a massive army of employees, their heads wrapped in yellow scarves, going everywhere to restructure society through violence. This was the Yellow Turban Rebellion, or in other words, the first large-scale strike. The imperial court, the company's leadership in crisis, hastily issued a notice, recruiting heroes from all over the country to quell the rebellion. Whoever succeeds will be rewarded. And so, a host of talented individuals, from local officials and rich young masters to unemployed bandits, saw this as an opportunity to change jobs and build their own careers. The stage was set. Our main cast was also preparing for their debut. Act 1. The three brothers' oath in the Peach Garden, and a debut more country than you can imagine. In a noisy village market, there was a fellow named Liu Bei, who claimed to be of royal descent, a lineage so distant you'd probably need a microscope to see it, but was currently making a living weaving straw sandals. His identifying features: large ears, long arms, and a special skill: crying. He was an excellent crier, crying his way to a future, crying his way to a career. While lamenting the state of affairs, he met a man with a face as red as a gack fruit, a long flowing beard, and a majestic appearance named Guan Yu. This man was wanted for having accidentally dealt with a tyrannical local bully. As the two were having a heart-to-heart, a pig butcher with a tiger's beard, swallow's eyes, and a voice as loud as a broken bell named Zhang Fei burst in. Zhang Fei was a sort of local big shot with a fiery temper, who solved everything with his fists and alcohol. Three men, three different backgrounds, but one common ambition, and perhaps a shared love for drinking. So Zhang Fei proposed, "My house has a peach garden with plenty of wine and meat. Why don't we become sworn brothers?" And so the three of them went to the peach garden and made a solemn oath, not to be born on the same day, in the same month of the same year, but to die on the same day, in the same month of the same year. A very unlucky oath that would later prove its effectiveness. Thus, the Brotherhood Corporation of Liu Guanzhong was officially established, with Liu Bei as the chairman of the board, despite having no capital, Guan Yu as the director of security, and Zhang Fei as the head of action, specializing in starting trouble. They recruited a small number of troops, forged weapons, Guan Yu's Green Dragon Crescent Blade, Zhang Fei's Viper Blade, and Liu Bei's rather delicate-looking dual swords, and set off to quell the Yellow Turban Rebellion. Their initial achievements were quite impressive, but because they had no connections and didn't know how to bribe, after suppressing the rebellion, Liu Bei was only rewarded with a minor county magistrate position. He hadn't even warmed his seat when an arrogant superior official came for an inspection, demanding a bribe. While Liu Bei was about to use his ultimate Rain of Tears technique to resolve the situation, Zhang Fei couldn't hold back. He dragged the official out, tied him to a post, and gave him a sound whipping. After this unforgettable greeting to their superior, the three brothers had no choice but to abandon their posts and continue their life as wandering heroes. Their career path began with a debut hit, followed by a self-destructive scandal. Act 2. Cao Cao enters the scene and the round-table conference drama of the 18 warlords while the three Liu Bei brothers were still struggling to find work. A major figure had appeared in the capital, Liang. That was Cao Cao. Cao Cao was a complex man. People said he was a villain in chaotic times and a capable minister in times of peace. Simply put, he was a ruthless pragmatist. His catchphrase was, "I would rather betray the world than let the world betray me." A very healthy and balanced life philosophy. The context at this time was that Dong Zhuge, a fat, boorish general from the west, had entered the capital, deposed one emperor to install another, and acted with impunity. Dong Zhuge had an ace up his sleeve, an adopted son named Liu Bei. Liu Bei was known as the god of war, an unrivaled fighter, but his brain was perhaps inversely proportional to his strength. This guy had a notorious track record of betraying his masters and killing his foster fathers. Cao Cao, finding the situation unbearable, volunteered to assassinate Dong Zhuge. The assassination attempt failed miserably, and Cao Cao had to flee for his life. But thanks to this incident, his fame soared. He returned to his hometown and issued a call to arms for heroes across the land to punish Dong. And so, 18 warlords from all over gathered, forming a grand coalition. The leader was Yuan Shao, a dandy from a prestigious family, handsome but indecisive. The conference of the 18 warlords looked impressive, but was in reality a chaotic mess. They gathered, drank, feasted, showed off their military strength, and then argued. When Dong Zhuo's general, Hua Xiong, came out to challenge them and killed several of the coalition's generals, the entire hall fell silent. At this moment, Guan Yu, who was just a humble archer following Liu Bei, asked to go out and fight. While Yuan Shao was sneering at his lowly status, Cao Cao astutely poured a cup of warm wine and said, "Drink this, brave warrior, before you go." Guan Yu replied, "Leave the wine. I'll be back shortly." Before he could finish his sentence, the sound of the battle drum ceased, and Guan Yu returned with Hua Xiong's head, the cup of wine still warm. The entire conference was in shock. This was the first time the Brotherhood Corporation had made a big name for itself in the business world. But this coalition soon fell apart due to individuals who could only think of their own interests. They fought Liu Bei in an epic 3-against-1 battle. The three heroes combat Liu Bei, but in the end, still allowed Dong Zhuge to move the capital to Chang'an. The coalition disbanded, everyone went home, and a new era began. The era of big fish eating small fish, also known as the nationwide land grab. Cao Cao, having seen the true colors of his colleagues, decided to go his own way, simultaneously quelling rebellions, protecting the emperor to gain legitimacy, and secretly building his own empire. A marketing strategy that couldn't be more perfect. Use the emperor's name to command the rivals. Act 3. Liu Bei's endless journey of wandering. After the coalition disbanded, Liu Bei returned to his homeless state. His career during this period can be summed up in a loop. Find a new investor, like Gongsun Zan or Tao Qian. Be given a piece of land to do business on, Su province. Be taken over by a stronger competitor, usually Liu Bei or Cao Cao. fail, lose his wife and children, and get separated from his brothers. Cry, regroup his remaining troops, and go back to step one. There is a classic anecdote about Liu Bei's luck in keeping his family. Once, he was ambushed by Liu Bei and had to flee, leaving his family behind. Zhang Fei, who was tasked with protecting them, got drunk and lost the city. Waking up to the disaster he had caused, Zhang Fei was about to commit suicide when Liu Bei stopped him. Liu Bei said an immortal line, "Brothers are like limbs, wives and children are like clothes. Torn clothes can be mended, but how can a severed limb be reattached?" A statement deeply rooted in male chauvinism but highly effective in strengthening the brotherly bond. Meanwhile, in the south, another power was rising. That was the Sun family in Jiangdong. Sun Jian, the father, was a true tiger, but unfortunately died in battle early on. The eldest son, Sun Ce, a handsome and skilled fighter, built a solid foundation in Jiangdong. But Sun Ce also died young, assassinated. Before his death, he handed over his entire legacy to his younger brother, Sun Quan. Sun Quan was not as skilled a fighter as his father and brother, but he was a master of using people and defense. His philosophy was, let those guys up north kill each other. I'll just hold on to my land. A safe and extremely effective strategy. Thus, the situation gradually took shape. Cao Cao held the heavenly timing, controlling the emperor and dominating the north. Sun Quan held the geographical advantage, with the Yangtze River as a natural barrier, secure in Jiangdong. And what about our Liu Bei? He held the support of the people. That is, he had the people's hearts, but besides that, he had nothing. He was still on his long-term backpacking journey, and his next destination was Jing Province, seeking refuge with another distant relative, Liu Biao. Act 4. The Longzhong Plan and the appearance of a Super Saiyan intellect. Staying at Liu Biao's place, Liu Bei felt very constrained. He was getting older, but his career was still going nowhere. Once, while in the latrine, he even cried upon noticing the fat on his thighs, a sign that it had been a long time since he had ridden a horse into battle. The sorrow of an unemployed middle-aged man. Fortunately, he met a famous headhunter named Sima Hui, Master Water Mirror. This master uttered a profound statement. You are surrounded by mere warriors. You need a real brain. Then he recommended two names, Sleeping Dragon and Fledgling Phoenix. Gaining either one of them could pacify the realm. The Sleeping Dragon was none other than Zhuge Liang, styled Kong Ming, a young man living in seclusion in a thatched cottage in Longzhong, who compared himself to Guan Yu and Yue Yi, two supermen of ancient times. But in the eyes of his neighbors was just a farmer who liked to talk big. Hearing of his reputation, Liu Bei was determined to recruit him. He, along with Guan Yu and Zhang Fei, made 3 trips to the thatched cottage to invite him. The first time, Kong Ming was out. The second time, they met his younger brother. Zhang Fei was already losing his patience, threatening to burn down the cottage. Guan Yu, with his usual stoicism, thought the guy was just being arrogant. Only Liu Bei, with the infinite patience of someone accustomed to failure, remained determined to go a third time. The third time, Kong Ming was taking a nap. Liu Bei didn't dare to disturb him and just waited in the courtyard. He waited so long that Guan Yu and Zhang Fei looked miserable. Finally, Kong Ming woke up, and after testing Liu Bei's sincerity, he presented a strategic plan called the Longzhong Plan. Its content can be summarized as follows. Market analysis. Cao Cao in the north is too strong to be challenged. Sun Quan in the east has a strategic geographical advantage and can only be an ally, not an enemy. Target identification. Must seize Jing province, where Liu Bei is, and Westchuan, Yi province, belonging to Liu Zhang, to establish a base. These are two fertile regions whose rulers are weak. Long-term strategy. Form a tripartite balance of power, where the three sides check each other. Then, ally with Sun Quan. Wait for an opportunity when Cao Cao weakens, and then attack from two fronts to advance into the Central Plains and revive the Han Dynasty. The plan was clear, coherent, and ambitious. Upon hearing it, Liu Bei felt like a person walking in the dark who suddenly sees the headlights of a car. He begged Kong Ming to come down from the mountain and help him. From then on, Zhuge Liang officially became the CEO of the Liu Bei Corporation. Their relationship was so close, like fish and water, that it made Guan Yu and Zhang Fei quite jealous on more than one occasion. The arrival of Kong Ming completely changed Liu Bei's destiny, transforming him from a wanderer into a formidable opponent on the chessboard of the Three Kingdoms. To be continued.